All right, guys, Sam here. We're back with you on the 19th of March here. It's Tuesday, kind of midday here. And last up, again, it's always by request from the polling we do of the members as we're looking at traditionals today. I always let them pick any asset class as long as it's traditional, i.e. anything but crypto. So we alternate back and forth. Now here this is New Zealand to the dollar. So I'm on the daily chart here. I'm working from the 09 low here. So when you first bring this up, so the first thing that your eye is drawn to is what are we always looking for? We're looking for retracements to help us identify where the probable locations are. Depth of retracement, that can be a tell, certainly as to where we are as it relates to an Elliott count. So you first bring it up, and that's the first retracement you get. So of course, the first thing you're going to do is just check out, are we technical? Where are we looking for it? From the 50 to the 786. Well, we're a little shy here. Don't quite make it. Now, certainly I've seen it before. It's not that dramatically unusual. Get it right on there. That we don't make the 50, although you'd prefer. So if you were down here looking for that trade after you'd seen this impulse finish down here, you likely were left hanging there. I know I would be, right? So because I wouldn't be there sitting ready to buy it at the 38. Now, once it gets going, there's plenty of opportunity. Although you have to wait. So note, I'm on the daily chart, which is where I always recommend, I don't care what you're thinking about in Forex, you got to get out to the daily minimum, if not the 3-day or the weekly, to get some perspective on where you are. But as that's the deeper retracement, right? So here, you don't know, right? But as this unfolds, you kind of back into it going, well, okay, well, that certainly looks like that's some sort of a 3. Now you're checking to see, are they technical? Do I have pivots here to give me confidence? Well, kind of, looks like we've got a diagonal into an A. Well, no, that's a little pushy here. So you'd have to go A, B, C into the B. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you're going to check them. So because I don't hit a 50 here, I would start with the low. Look up here. So well, now I look at it and say, well, where am I looking for the 4? There's the 38. Well, I want to check this as well, right? So this is the norm. Well, what do we get, right? Right to the 50. Right, so now with that established, that's the order I would do it. I'd want to check all the way just to see 38, good. Well, then I'd want to check the 2 just to see if we're going to hold standard relationships here. So with the 3-wave structure right to the 50. Now it's interesting. So we come on the first push, we don't quite make it, right? So this gets denied back. So then we get it here and then ultimately get close. But this makes me think that there's something else there. So this is too far for a front run. So getting it here makes me rethink that. Think, well, something like another algorithm took over here. So if I pull here now from this pivot to this pivot, all right, so there looks pretty solid. So now I come, there's a 1 tick front run on the golden zone. So there's the tag of the 618. Here's the first target reaction, second target damn near to the tick. And look, we've double topped here at that second target. So if I don't see it here, I'm going to quickly check somewhere else because now I have the benefit of this, right? We're thinking about over here, but I take you through this to help us get clarity on where are we in the count over here. So if this is done, so with that kind of precision here, I think we have a good candidate here for the 1 wave to be in. So on the larger degree here, let's grab this here. So this looks like a reasonable spot for a 1 wave. Now where's the 2? Now I'm going to propose to you it's down here. So these have got to go 3, 4, and 5. Oh, and let's get that degree up. Something that makes sense. You can see it. Okay. Now this is open to interpretation. So if you hadn't done that work and hadn't looked here, so we say, all right, okay, looks okay. I get an extension in the 5th. I've got a diagonal. I'm looking for something technical on the 4. Start of the 1 through the pivot of the 3. I come to the 618 exactly. I hit both algo targets. Well, now coming off of that, now if you're thinking, oh, 1, okay, well, what am I looking for? I'm looking for at least a 50% retracement, at least. All right, so there we come. Well, yet again, here we are at the 38. Don't make it. So I've got 5 coming down. So I've got a leading diagonal in my A wave. Right, again, this is with the benefit of all of this history. I understand. I'm just taking you through the process so we get clarity on where we are. Do I have a completed 1? Do I have a completed 2? Well, Yeah, it's possible, but the subdivision here implies that you've got an A wave. Well, given all of this complexity that follows here, so you would have been, of course, you'd have been here thinking, oh, all right, well, A, there's the B, we're going down for the C. Well, it doesn't happen, right? And we get what, so you could look at that and think, oh, wait a minute, I've got a diagonal into the fifth, but it doesn't fit, right, because of the 5 here. So this also looks, we could trade this as an A, B, C, D, E into a B wave here. So the double top on the B, I think, fits better. Well, now look what happens. We come down here. Slight wicks, just barely through. So swing low, swing high, double top. You're looking for that to hold. Well, the first thing you're looking for is a reaction at the 50. Doesn't even pause, right? Barely. And then when you get slight little wicks through, but that is enough. So you lose the buy side algo. Odds are, right, so, you can't be absolutely certain, but the odds are you lose the buy side here. That's enough of a, remember, I'm on a daily chart, so if I were down on a 1 hour, that might look a little bigger, but that's enough to break it. So what does the algorithm do after they break? Okay, with that established, what the algorithm will do is draw the dominant pivots, and it will take the next 50. So let me get right on there. So swing high to swing low. What do we run into? Get right on there. Right, so it's going to sell the next 50, right? Swing low, swing high, right? Is this front run? Maybe, but that for sure. So where the hell are we in the count? Is this my 2? Right, even though we broke, so as a 2, the fact that we broke the golden zone, it doesn't disqualify as a 2, but how is that going to fit? And then where does that put us now? All right, well, this, I think, is worth noting here. If this is ABC, we're looking for a relationship between those two. So I'm going to take the length of the A. I'm going to project it from the pivot of the proposed B. Well, just like a third wave, we're looking for, as an extreme, we'd be looking for between the 1618 and the 175. Right? So what's interesting here, so we get a few wicks. This is interesting confluence. Let me pull that off here. So just as we get a few wicks past the 618, put that back together, you've got just a hair of a break of the 7.5, but certainly looking here, now you look at this confluence here. So very slight little breaks here. They go just, could it be stop running? Could be. Did they fatten up a little bit? There's just no way for us to know. But this tells me that there was an algorithm here that gets stopped out. The next play is to take the 50, right? So here we are, right? And we have a pretty good move. Now these are, remember, this is a daily chart. That's a substantial move, as is this. All of these, right? When you're out on this scale, these are, you catch just one of these pivot turns, you have a very good month, right? So one, it could be longer than that, right? These are multi-month trades. So if this is 1, 2, where am I now? Well, if that's correctly identified, then all of this is much higher. Meaning New Zealand dollar strength, dollar weakness is going to need to be in play for this to get there. Right? Does that make sense? Is that where we are? Well, money moves where it's treated best, so this is ultimately an interest rate play. So 1, 2, well, could I be going 1, 2 yet again? Well, it certainly would be deep. We know that we stay internal here. So I have a 50. So how do we look here as a 1? So if we're going higher and the C is in of the 2, well, then I've got a candidate for a 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 5. Now, of course, that degree's got to come down, so bear with me here. We can go micro work, and let's change the color so we don't lose track of where we are. Okay, so let's pull that off. All right, so could this be the 1, 2? Well, we haven't violated this pivot down here, so I maintain an internal retracement, although it is deep. All right, so could I have 1, 2, 1, 2? Well, we look here and we say, well, clearly with the overlap here, it's subtle, but it's enough. I've got a diagonal. So I've got to go 1, ABC into a 2, ABC into a 3, ABC into a 4. Now we're looking for something technical in a diagonal, always the start of the 1 through the pivot of the 3. What do we get? All right, we come 50, bounce, but we don't make target. Now, as I will always remind you, just because the target's there doesn't mean we have to get there. What do we run into? Right, as I just showed you. What denies it getting to the target? Right, this 50. rejects it. So this algo wins the day. No, not that there wasn't money made here, but they don't. That's not how they do it. They'll stay with it until they get the target or they get stopped out. Right. So the buy side algo here gets stopped out. This algo still in control. So we've got this guy looking for this target here. So from this 50, they will stay short until they get that or they get stopped out here. Right. So, but again, right, it's multiple degrees here. So from this, looks like you might have something in play here. Right, so here's a 50, so we got a shorter term target. So again, it's just the same thing over and over and over. Right? You'd want to check it halfway back. Front run on the 50 could be. Could be swing low, slight front run on the 50. So we get multiple targets. Nice little cluster down here where we've got some confluence between the secondary target of the smaller degree here and the larger degree here from this 50. So we've got both of these looking for that as a destination. This essentially would. Well, so if this algo makes it here, that's going to invalidate this count. So we can't have the 2. We can't break this here. So if would we break? Yes, we would. So if this algo here wins the day, right? This count invalidates. So you have to rethink the whole thing, and then maybe rather than ABC, what we have here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going deeper. Right? Remember, algorithm does not care about the Elliott count. That's only us trying to use it to identify and get in behind whatever they did last. So we know the buy side broke. The sell side still in control, and you've got a contender here for a secondary algorithm pushing lower. So how are we going to know? Well, welcome to the conundrum, right? So we know this algorithm is going to stay short. So if this holds here, we got to come out of this if this is correctly identified. Emphasis, if this is correctly identified as a leading diagonal into my 1, an ABC, deep ABC into a 2. Well, sure as hell, this pivot is going to need to hold. Right? That no question. Well, technically, as long as we stay above this pivot, we don't invalidate the count. But given what's come off of that, you're now looking for that to hold. So I'm going to go from the daily down to the 4-hour and see if we have the subdivision here to support that thinking. So as I come down here, I can definitely get an impulse. Well, yes, I can definitely get an impulse coming down. Looks like we finish with a diagonal to get the C, the proposed C wave. Let me get this tightened up here, of the 2. Maybe we'll make this a higher degree just to distinguish it. We'll go minuet. Okay, so if that's 1, 2, well, what do we got here? Well, so just at first glance, right? The first thing your eye is going to do is say, well, that sure looks like a 1, 2, right? Does that look like I can go 3, 4, 5? It doesn't look like I can finish here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we could. Nope, nope, I don't think we can. So let's take a look here. So meaning diagonal. All right, so that's the first thing, because the depth of that, you're thinking, oh shit, well, we've overlapped the 1. So if it's correctly labeled as a 2, we can have a diagonal here. And we could have a truncated 5th, which looks like may be the case. Well, how are you going to know? Again, you come back to, you just start measuring for some tells as to see how far have we gone. Well, look what we do, 2618 to the tick. Right? Again, I promise you guys, that's not just coincidental. Okay, so that's an extreme for the 3. So I lean more into this as a 3. When I hear, you can make the same case. We'll say, hey, what about that? Well, but then I've got a 3-wave finish, right? So I'm more inclined to think 3 is in deep 4, creating the diagonal. So if I've got a diagonal, that means I've got to pull this. I've got to get a diagonal out of this. So then it seems to fit better. So then I can go A, B, C. All right, and I get my 3rd here. Now I'm looking for something technical with that overlap established between the start of the 1 and the pivot of the 3. Well, do I get? Well, already we know it's going to be very deep. So if I pull here to here, right, we get a break. So you lose the buy side algo here. All right, so well, we can look here and say, okay, well, who's still in control? All right, who's in control? Right, well, let's see. I think there's a pivot back 1. It's actually a little further, excuse me, while I get back here. Okay, so here's now you can see it a little bit better. So here's the front run on the 50. Where are we? Where are we in this count? Is this 3, 4? Could be. I think this plays better here. So what's the alternate? Could we have, well, let's go down to let's blow it up. So so then you're looking at that going, well, maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe this is a 2 because of the depth of it. You're more inclined to think to think that it's a second. Well, would that fit? Well, that means the 3 would have to likely be here. You'd have to do... Can you get 5 there? Yeah, I think you can, actually. So maybe you could do it this way. 1, 2, ooh, that's going to be tricky. 3, 4, 5. But in this, I can get 5 here to finish this. So I can get, can I? Yeah, I can. So I could go from here. I can get a 1, 2, 3. That sure looks like a 4. So I can get that. Let's get the degree down. Oh, we'll go submicro. Let's go green. Okay, so if this is my 3, well, how do I get a 3 out of that? Can I get it? Well, if this is 1, 2. All right, well, let's just standard ops. Do I have it? Yeah, I think, yeah, we can do it this way. Okay, so let's check it. All right, so length of the 1. Length of the 1 from the proposed 2. Well, here's a candidate, right? So here's the high probability zone. So now you're looking at that going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that could work. There's a 3. There's a 4. Well, now no, I'm not done yet. Right? So then what have I got? So then I've got to go 1, 2. Does that work? No, it doesn't, right? Because I have to go A, B, C. So now I come back to this and go, well, all right, so maybe the 3 is here and the 4 is here. Does that work? Well, I can, it ain't gorgeous, right? But I can get an ABC out of that. So I come down here, ABC, okay. Decent, right? So 272, not crazy. How am I technically? So if I pull 2 to the 3, how do we look? Can I put the thing together here? Well, we're in right where we're looking for, between the 23 and the 38, right? We're not to the tick anywhere. I'm still on the 4 hour here, so then I can finish the 5, maybe a slight front run on the 50, possible, hard to say. So I would check a few other pivots, see if that gets closer. So that gets my attention here. So there we are, ticking it from the 38. It's a little bit of a guesstimate as to what happened there, but that looks more likely that we can finish here. So meaning the probability, I think, would increase that we're done. Oh, shit, where's my 5? Come on, in here. All right, so coming back here, trying to recreate it. Okay, so there's that thought process. So now backing into it and kind of working backwards, I can get my completed impulse here. So if that comes there and this goes here, now this starts to make more sense. So from that, I can go, oh, okay, well, oh, looks like that's the steepest retracement here. So looks like I'd have to do it this way: A, B into the deep C. So on that degree, let me get this, so down a degree. Okay, so let's now put the whole thing together. So from the low, if that's a completed 1 and that's my 2, well, where am I now? Well, let's just put these up. Got to put them somewhere. Let me get that degree up 1, and we'll go to blue. Okay, so I've got a contender here for a 1, A, B, C, deep. I like this better as a 2, certainly than a 4 that turns it into a diagonal. Now, what do I have here? So that sure looks like, it's hard to, just at first glance, right? You look at it and go, all right, well, it sure looks like an ABC to me, right? So what would that mean? Well, then we'd be potentially in a diagonal. So one possibility here is we're going to get a deeper correction. So we could have, you look at that and say, well, that looks like 3, that looks like 3, doesn't look like we're impulsive yet anywhere, so maybe we'll have a deeper retracement. Certainly a possibility. We're too far here for any algo to be in place, so the dominant algo is still here. This guy, well, this guy here, even though it's a front run on the 50, these guys still in control. So if this is 1, 2, you can't get a 1 there. It's just not there. So even if you want to 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, it just doesn't work. So you kind of left looking at that going, is there something I'm not seeing? So it's because of the 3 here, and it looks like I've got 5 in that. So this ABC looks very solid. So kind of backing out, going, well, what is there an alternate? Well, if this is an ABC, I think the better case is that we're in a combination. Let me say it that way. So perhaps we've got a WXY here. So looking, so ABC finishes, this could be an X, and now we're in an ABC of a Y down here. That's possible. So this could be your X wave here, may fit better. So there's the 2 would be implied to be over here. ABC, into a W, ABC into an X. And well, now what do we got? You know, your guess is as good as mine. So really, is there a trade here? I'd propose to you not, right? There's just how do you have any advantage over to where you are? The only help we may have some algo help here. Is there a buy side here? Yeah, so golden zone. Okay, so right, guys, it's always there. All right, so there we go. So this guy's looking for that as a target. Well, what's that going to do to our account? Well, that's going to blow up the idea that we've got an X, because then so we'd be looking for the secondary ABC here. So we'd be looking for A, B, C down here. So let's push this off, see if it makes sense. So if we're doing that, does that make sense? Well, maybe. So the bottom line, what I'm trying to get you to is, this is a crapshoot. It's not that far from what I just took you through in Tesla. You go through all of this, and at the end of the day, so there's value in doing that. Let me propose that to you. There's value in doing that. But if you come up at the end of the day and you go, I don't know where the hell we are. Next chart. There are so many choices. Why do you beat your head against the wall here? Unless there's some particular reason to be, forcing a trade here. This is not tradable. Well, let me rephrase. You can trade it, but you might as well just roll dice. You can't get any advantage here based on what you're seeing. So maybe you say, okay, well, all right, I've got resistance up here. I've got support. So we'll use all of this, right? We got support down here. So if it gets up here, you sell it. Get down here, you buy it. It's not how I like to trade. I want to find these probability zones. So what's here? What probability do I have here? None. And I could be completely wrong about this count, because there's there's not enough data here. I'm working you through these one swing at a time to get you to go, just kind of share that thought process with you, because I'm anticipating that's what you're going to go through as well. So what do you do with this? Nothing. The thing to do is say, okay, interesting chart. Is there a trade here? No. Does that mean I never want to trade this? Well, hell, okay, of course not. But until I get more information, there is no advantage here. As I'll often say, you'll have more fun in Vegas and the drinks are free. Who knows what we got here? You just got confusion, lack of any. What do we got? Well, number one, I can't have a triangle in the two, so that can't work. So unless this drives down here to give me the Y here, and I can get a WXY into a 2, and then it's going to be much more bullish. Well, of course, you're going to have to fight through all the algos here. You got to get through the 50, you got to get through the golden zone here. This is untradeable. Well, again, I wouldn't trade it. Let me say it that way, because I can't get an advantage here. I can't get a probability advantage as to where I am. Algo's breaking on both sides. I'm just in a cluster here. Certainly, I wouldn't be chasing anything going into a Fed announcement, right? So into a Fed meeting, I should say. So why, right? So what we need is something to kick this either down here to fit this proposed count, so you got an alternate, or up to make you rethink this and go, well, shit, okay, maybe I'm going to have a gigantic diagonal in which would be the shit even that wouldn't work, unless you were trying to go, oh shit, could you even get that? I don't think you could, right? I don't think you can get it unless it's going to be so. Well, I'm back on a 4-hour. Unless it's going to be so large, it just wouldn't make sense. So coming back out to the daily, now you look at that and you go, all right. So why, right? That's untradeable. You're deep here, you've got an algo here, you bumped into a 50 here. Right now, that what seems to be, or I should say, the algorithms that seem to be in control are on the sell side, right? This guy, right, definitely looking for that. And then this guy looking right here at this 50, looking for the smaller one that we had up earlier. Otherwise, you wait, right? You wait until there's more clarity, until you get more data, more tell as to where you are. Excuse me, more tell as to where you are in the process. Here, fuck. Who knows? All right, guys. Talk to you later.